It's the Big Stuff Podcast. Now here's Andy and Jen, your Big Stuff hosts.
Hey, hello, and welcome to Big Stuff Podcast. Hi, Jen. How are you?
Hello. Good. It's been a long time.
It has been, but we're back. We've got a great guest today. His name is Marco Cochrane, and he is a large-scale artist, which is a Big Stuff thing, of course.
Of course,
So we love
right?
everything he does. And he is behind the Bliss Project. Why don't you tell us what the Bliss Project is?
So the Bliss Project, 3 sculptures that Marco was able to create that are amazing. Truth is Beauty, Bliss Dance, which is what we're going to be talking about today, which is in Las Vegas outside the park MGM, and also Revolution, which is in the San Francisco area. But we'd like to welcome Marco to the show.
Welcome, Marco.
Hello.
Hi.
So, Marco, we've both been out to Las Vegas and we've both seen Bliss Dance, which is just remarkable. Stunning. I mean, you can't even really describe it until you see it.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the inspiration for Bliss Dance and how she was born.
This gets pretty heavy. Like, I do giant sculptures of women. And why would I do such a thing? When I was 7 years old, I was living in Berkeley, and my friend who I had grown up with, my parents were her mother and my mother were best friends, so we grew up together since we were babies. Mm-hmm. And they were over visiting, and while we were outside, some guy grabbed her and pulled her into a van.
Oh my God.
And raped her and then threw her back in the bushes. I was just shocked beyond belief.
I cannot imagine.
My parents were really activists against the Vietnam War. They were hippies and did artwork for that and protesting. And it seemed to me then like nothing happened. Nobody did anything. The police didn't come. Nothing happened at all. And I was like, what? Isn't this an emergency? I mean, this is serious, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how is it not?
And then it was never spoken of again. And I was like, what the f-?
So that really shaped you, Marco.
It did. And my mother was a radical feminist and had been saying that women's voices weren't being listened to in the world and that wars wouldn't happen if women were being listened to. And I was like, that seems probably true. And this focused to me on how could this happen? How could this happen? And how could nobody even talk about it? And of course you grow up and find out, oh, there's all kinds of reasons why this happens and why no one talks about it. And I felt like I found out I could sculpt. It was something I was capable of doing it at a high level immediately.
So at what age did you learn how to sculpt?
I could just always do it.
Yeah.
I could make something look like the way I wanted it to look. To me, it's a really direct, it's taken me most of my life to realize that everyone couldn't do it. That's not some kind of thing. If anyone tried, they could do it. But I had this talent and I could do figure. I could sculpt people. And what's the most beautiful thing in the world? A woman. But also, in my experience, little girls get raped by strangers. It's yes, the body is beautiful. The downside is horrible things happen if you're living in one of these bodies.
You noticed at 7 that imbalance between men and women.
Yeah. Yes. And so I did a group of sculptures called the celebration of femininity after the revolution. And what I wanted to talk about the children of the women who fought for feminists in the 70s, and how they held themselves. And it's like they didn't go through a war to be able to express themselves in the way they do. And I wanted to celebrate that because I feel like that was important. So the three sculptures, three big ones, are all the same model. And I met her when I was doing these small sculptures. They were all about 2 feet tall, and a series of 15.
Is that Deja Solis?
Yes.
She's the inspiration for the Bliss Project, all three.
And a bunch of other smaller pieces. When we met, she's actually the only person I worked with that I didn't know, because I needed somebody who's really tall. Mm-hmm. And she's tall. She's 6 feet tall. And so I saw her. She had this really great, and like she held herself really well. And I'm very shy, and I talked to her, and she thought I was some creep, which of course she would.
Think about the vulnerability. I mean, you're asking her to,
Yes. Well, and one of the first sculptures we did, the first one was she's standing in the doorway of my studio with her hands on her hips, looking at me like, "Are you for real?" Like in a defensive posture. And I said, "Can we do that sculpture right now?
Yeah, right.
Can I take a picture of you right in this state?"
Yep.
And so I did that sculpture. And then she realized, oh, this is real. Like, I'm really doing this. Because she was sitting there pissed. I'm, like,
yeah.
Who are you?
Really?
The next piece, she came back once she realized it was real. She came back with Truth is Beauty pose, the really stretched out.
Oh yeah.
Pose. And when we met, I asked her what she wanted to do with her life, how she thought she could make the world a better place, because that's what I was doing, trying to make the world a better place. And she said, big time feminine energy in the world. That's what we need. And I'm like, okay. So we did these little sculptures, and nothing happened at all. It made nobody cared, nobody noticed. But then when I went to Burning Man, I thought, oh, they might notice, they might understand this, because nudity isn't an issue there.
Right.
So yeah, at Burning Man, it's not dirty like we've made it in society.
No.
Right.
Well, if you get like the nudity is obvious, it's sexuality, to separate those two, which it is separated at Burning Man, then you can look at the piece, and also the scale of it sort of puts everybody in a childlike position, because these things are huge. You're not going to walk up and hit on her. It's no truth in it.
Well, and there's a real danger in getting crushed by her.
Yes.
True.
Well, one of the things that when I did the first piece, I'd never been around a sculpture that big before. And I realized that it was really comfortable. It wasn't scary to be around this gigantic person. It felt really comfortable. And it was trippy how comfortable it was. Like, it's a really noticeable, comfortable thing. And I realized that if you're a baby laying on the floor, which happens a lot, put the baby on the floor when you do something, I mean, in the house, your eyes are about the same height as the person standing next to one of these sculptures. So we're actually used to having gigantic humans standing over us.
Wow. So that's amazing that you put those two things together, because you're right. To the baby, mother is a giant.
You're right.
Yeah. And the same scale of giant. So it's actually a natural thing. It's not scary. When she went to Vegas, and we knew the sale was happening, and doing the install, I started looking for the girl who had been raped on Facebook, and I found her.
Oh my
We hadn't
gosh.
talked since we were kids. Um, and I turned out she lives in Vegas.
Huh.
So I was like, wow, okay. Invite her to the opening, and I say, do you know what I've been saying? Because I've done, I've told this story many times. And she goes, yeah, I do. I've been following you, and I got to tell you, this is when I heard this is the first time I realized that it really happened. She said she thought she had made it up.
Really?
I burst into tears because it's like, holy,
Right.
your whole life, this massive trauma happens, and everybody just doesn't say a word about it. They all know it happened, and they don't talk about it anymore. So you start thinking you're crazy. And that felt pretty deep. Like I got something done around this at least. Because, trying to deal with rape is kind of insane.
Yeah.
I think it happens all the time. I mean, the part of what I wanted to say, this is before Me Too, because nobody wanted to talk about it.
Okay.
And then, of course, if you talk to women, which I do and have my whole life, it does happen all the time. I mean, as a ranting, feminist, I think things have changed dramatically. I mean, everything changes really fast now. But I still strongly believe we need to be able to work with each other.
Looking at Bliss Dance, I would never have known the backstory about this. It just doesn't come across that way. But I'm wondering, Marco, what kind of emotional response do you get when you finish a piece like this?
My emotional charge, the thing that's fun about it, I guess, is when I took Revolution down in Petaluma, I had just left the gate open and people could hang around the sculpture whenever they wanted. I didn't look at all. And it turned out that people were coming by every day and sort of hanging out with the sculpture. And it was really, when people would have, break up or something like that, they'd come to the sculpture and feel empowered by it. And it's like, I didn't even know they were doing that. And that felt good.
So there's conversations being had now about all of these pieces.
There certainly will be now. Now that, we've learned the backstory behind this.
Yeah, we both have daughters.
I mean, it's just, to find out what it was really about, it definitely is going to make it.
It changes it.
Totally.
Well, Truth is Beauty, which is in San Leandro, that's the second one, has what would the world be like if women were safe, written around the edge. And at Burning Man, that one's beautiful and sexy in its own way. And what I was intending was for people to walk up and go, nice ass, and then look at what was written on the base.
Yeah.
Oh, bros come in like, yeah, and then see that and go, oh. And that's the point.
Yeah.
It's like, yes.
You kind of built a mirror for people to be able to look at themselves. I mean, if even one person is impacted, isn't it worth that?
Yeah. Yes.
So that's great.
So, Marco, this is something that you just knew how to do. Did you feel like you were an artist from a different life? Because your talent is just amazing. You're self-taught.
Well, my parents are both artists, so I'm second generation.
Okay.
That definitely helps in that, like, I actually didn't want to be an artist. I mean, truly, I didn't start until my kid was born, until I was 25.
Oh, okay.
Because I just thought, it's just a nightmare existence. It's like you're depressed all the time. You're focusing on the problems of life. You're broke. Why would you do this? And I tried not to do it. And then realized I was already depressed and broke. And it's like, I have to do it. I just have to do it.
Well, we're really glad you did it. It's an amazing piece.
At your expense, by the way.
Yeah.
So, Marco, let's talk Bliss Dance, the specs. She is 7,000 pounds. She's 40 feet tall. She's got 1,000 LEDs lighting her up. She is truly spectacular.
Yeah. How did she come together, Marco?
So I did enlargements of other people's art for about 20 years. That's how I made a living, especially water-based clay. If artists liked water-based clay, I had this system to make a big version of something in water-based clay and it's nice to work with. But that system meant that what I was doing was creating a kind of a light, a heavy structure that could hold the weight, but then it would come off of that into this sort of light, fluffy structure that would hold the clay that had thousands of points of contact. But that meant you could push that thing out of the way if you wanted to make a change instead of hitting big chunks of metal. And then I put mesh over the outside of that. And so you'd have this thing that looked like the sculpture, but it was an inch below the surface. And then I put clay on it. And that thing that was an inch below the surface was beautiful. And it looked like the sculpture. And people would say, God, this is pretty right here. And then in 2009, I imagined how I could do a large version of this transparent thing without this big, heavy metal object in the middle of it to hold it up. That I could build this light truss thing that would hold up the outer skin. And that came to me like many things do, like I just saw it all at once. And I thought, oh, this is so simple. It might just work. And so I had a friend who was an engineer, and I asked her if this was possible, and she said, yeah, it's totally possible.
So, what kind of materials did you end up using?
So Bliss Dance, the weight bearing leg is starts as 6 3.5-inch solid rods of high strength steel. So it's like a tree, it has to be able to bend in the wind. It does. It's kind of scary how much it actually moves.
Right.
Steel is very flexible.
Interesting.
It is. It moves around a lot, and so it gets less and less material as it goes up. So it's all high strength steel base, and then it gets as a weight, like that's the most force applied to it right at the ankle. And then as it goes up, it has less and less force, and it gets lighter and lighter. So it's all, and then that's regular steel, all in a two-layer truss, and then the outside is stainless steel mesh.
So, Marco, from the concept of putting Bliss Dance together to actually the installation at Burning Man, what was that time frame?
9 months, which was, I couldn't have done that again. Yeah. That was grueling. 80 to 100-hour weeks.
That's amazing. I can't believe that it was done that quickly. I actually thought you were going to say like 2 to 3 years.
No, the engineering just alone.
Yeah. Well, the rest of them take 2 years.
Yeah.
If you're going to be reasonable about it, it's a 2-year project for, say, 5 people. But that was along with, like I had never done that before. So I had to invent all these systems to be able to build it. I was highly motivated. I've done a bunch of work, like 80-hour weeks. Pretty much I've been doing that my whole life. So the amount of effort, amount of push was sort of normal. It was a little more than usual, but then after that, I was just like, first I turned 50 around then, and I just felt like, God, I just don't have, I'm not 18 anymore. I can't keep doing this. So I went to two-year builds instead of 1-year builds.
Do you think the series is changing attitudes?
People experienced a catharsis around these sculptures without knowing anything about them. Just like that you're not around women who feel like this. It's not a normal energy. And when someone feels like that, you realize, oh shit, this is really unusual.
Yeah.
And I should be able to do this.
It's good.
It should be normal.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you felt like that when you were a kid.
Right.
You felt free to express yourself at some point in your life.
Yeah, I can see that.
That should be normal more often.
Well, that's what Big Stuff Podcast is really all about. I mean, we're about getting out there, exploring, finding a destination. We're suggesting
Big stuff.
Yeah, we're suggesting big stuff, but it doesn't have to be. It's about, getting out and finding yourself and having fun.
And smiling when you see this. And, Bliss Dance had such a reaction with us. We absolutely fell in love with her, and she's just spectacular.
Absolutely. Thank you twofold. One, for your art, which is incredible, but also for the message. I mean, we have a different perspective on this
changed.
now. I mean, it's just to look at this in a different light, and we're going to help to get that message across the way we do it, and hopefully folks will understand a little better about what she's all about.
So if anyone wants to go to see Bliss Dance, she's in Las Vegas, outside the T-Mobile Stadium, right by the Park MGM.
Just look for the 40-foot woman.
You can't miss her.
You can't.
All right.
For all the big stuff, go to the Big Stuff Podcast YouTube channel or BigStuffPodcast.com.